Have you ever sat in your favorite chair, looked around the quiet rooms of your home, and felt a physical weight in your chest that you could not quite explain? It is not exactly a pain, but more like a heavy, hollow fatigue that seems to sap the strength from your legs and the joy from your morning coffee. Perhaps you have noticed that your joints feel a bit stiffer on the days you do not talk to anyone. Or maybe you have found yourself reaching for a sugary snack just to feel a momentary spark of comfort. If you have felt this way, I want you to know something very important right now. You are not just getting older, and you are certainly not failing. There is a hidden culprit that might be working behind the scenes, impacting your health more than your diet or your exercise routine ever could. Today, we are going to talk about a danger that is often whispered about but rarely understood in its full clinical gravity. We are talking about loneliness. But this is not just a talk about feelings. We are diving into why leading researchers now warn that for those of us over 60, chronic isolation is actually more dangerous to our physical health than smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. It might sound hard to believe that a lack of social connection could be as toxic as a pack of Marlboros, but the science is becoming undeniably clear. It is not just about feeling a bit blue on a Sunday afternoon. When we are over 60, the way our bodies process stress and maintain our vital organs changes. We often assume that the decline in our mobility or the fog in our memory is just an inevitable part of the aging process, a tax we have to pay for living a long life. But what if I told you that a specific, invisible factor is acting like a slow-moving toxin in your bloodstream, silently weakening your heart and clouding your mind? In this video, we are going to uncover the 5 specific ways loneliness is physically damaging your body, and more importantly, I am going to show you exactly how we can push back. We are going to reclaim your energy and your independence by using smarter strategies to reconnect. By the time we are done, you will have a clear roadmap to feeling stronger, sharper, and more vibrant than you have in years. Before we jump into the first major danger, if you care about staying healthy and keeping your independence as you navigate these beautiful golden years, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on those notifications. We are building a community here where we share the kind of deep health insights that doctors often do not have the time to cover in a 15-minute appointment. And while you are at it, I would love to know who I am talking to today. Are you watching us from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, or maybe somewhere else entirely? Drop a comment below and let me know where you are tuning in from. I am always so curious and honestly moved to see how far our senior health community reaches across the globe. Now, let's talk about the first and perhaps most surprising danger on our list, which is the way loneliness triggers a state of chronic inflammation in your body. Think of inflammation like a low-grade fire burning inside your tissues. When you are socially connected and feeling supported, your body feels safe. But when we experience prolonged loneliness, our ancient biological programming kicks in. Our ancestors relied on the tribe for protection from predators. Without the tribe, the body enters a state of high alert, also known as hypervigilance. Even though there are no saber-toothed tigers in your living room, your body does not know that. It starts pumping out stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. In a younger person, the body can clear these out fairly quickly, but for those of us over 60, these hormones tend to linger. This hormonal buildup causes your immune system to go into overdrive, creating inflammation that attacks your own healthy cells. If you have noticed that your knees or hips are hurting more lately, or if your old injuries seem to be acting up for no reason, it might be this loneliness-induced inflammation. It is like pouring fuel on the fire of arthritis. A landmark study published in the Journal of Health and Social Behavior found that the physical toll of social isolation on our inflammatory markers is comparable to the damage caused by physical inactivity. So, while we focus so much on getting our steps in, we might be undoing all that hard work if we are coming home to a life of total isolation. The takeaway here is not to panic, but to recognize that your social life is a medical necessity. Even a brief, meaningful conversation with a neighbor or a phone call to an old friend acts like a natural anti-inflammatory for your system. Moving on to the second danger, let's talk about your brain. We often worry about senior moments or the fear of cognitive decline, but loneliness is a silent thief of memory. Think of your brain like a muscle. When you engage in a conversation, your brain is doing incredible heavy lifting. You are processing tone of voice, interpreting facial expressions, recalling memories to share, and predicting what the other person might say next. It is a full-body workout for your neurons. When we are isolated, those neural pathways start to get dusty. Scientists call this neural pruning. If If you don't use those connections, the brain eventually decides it doesn't need them and starts to shut them down. Research from the Global Council on Brain Health has shown that seniors who are socially active have a much lower risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's disease. In fact, one major study tracked over 2,000 seniors and found that those who felt lonely had a 26% higher risk of cognitive decline. It is as if the brain begins to hibernate because it thinks there is no one left to talk to. Imagine a garden that hasn't been watered in weeks. The plants don't die instantly, but they begin to wilt and lose their color. Social interaction is the water for your cognitive garden. You don't need to be the life of the party or a social butterfly to fix this. Even small, micro interactions, like chatting with a librarian or joining a local hobby group, can keep those neural synapses firing. It is not too late to sharpen your mind. Your brain is remarkably resilient, and it can start building new connections the moment you start engaging with the world again. Next on our list is something that affects your very foundation, your heart and your cardiovascular system. This is where the comparison to smoking really hits home. When we are lonely, our blood pressure tends to rise, and our arteries begin to stiffen. This isn't just because of poor diet, but because of the broken heart effect, which is a very real physiological condition. When you feel lonely, your heart rate variability decreases, which is a technical way of saying your heart becomes less capable of responding to stress. It becomes rigid. The American Heart Association has released statements highlighting that social isolation and loneliness are associated with a 40% increased risk of recurrent heart attack or stroke. Think about that for a second. That is a massive percentage. It is as if loneliness is narrowing your blood vessels, making it harder for oxygen-rich blood to reach your legs and your brain. Have you ever felt that sudden, heavy fatigue in your calves after just a short walk? While we often blame it on old age, it could be that your cardiovascular system is struggling under the weight of chronic stress from isolation. But here is the empowering part. When you spend time with people who make you feel seen and heard, your body releases oxytocin, often called the cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is a powerful vasodilator, meaning it actually helps your blood vessels relax and open up. It lowers your blood pressure naturally. A good laugh with a friend is quite literally medicine for your heart. If you are finding these insights helpful so far, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithm show this information to other seniors who might be struggling in silence. And if you haven't yet, do subscribe. We are just getting started on this journey to better health, and I don't want you to miss the next steps we are going to take together. Now let's talk about the fourth danger, which is a weakened immune system. Have you noticed that you seem to catch every little cold that goes around, or that it takes you much longer to recover from a simple flu than it used to? Loneliness might be the hidden culprit here. There's a fascinating field of study called Social Genomics. Researchers at the University of California have found that loneliness actually changes the way your genes are expressed. When you are chronically lonely, your body shifts its immune focus. It turns down the genes that protect you against viral infections and turns up the genes that cause inflammation. Essentially, your body stops focusing on fighting off external viruses because it is too busy reacting to the internal emergency of being alone. It is like a castle that leaves its gates wide open to invaders because all the guards are busy fighting a fire inside the courtyard. This makes you significantly more vulnerable to illnesses that a healthy, connected senior could easily fight off. It also means that vaccines, like the flu shot or shingles vaccine, might be less effective because your immune system is too distracted to respond properly. But remember, your body is always trying to heal itself. The moment you begin to foster connections, your gene expression can start to shift back toward a protective state. You are giving your guards the signal that the fire is out and they can go back to protecting the gates. Finally, we come to the fifth danger, and this one is perhaps the most insidious because it affects your daily survival, the loss of physical mobility and the onset of frailty. It is a simple use it or lose it principle, but it goes deeper than just exercise. When we are alone, we have fewer reasons to move. We don't have to dress up to go out, we don't have to walk to a friend's house, and we don't have the social mirror of others noticing if we are slowing down. Loneliness often leads to a sedentary lifestyle, which causes our muscles to atrophy, especially in our legs. But there is also a biological component. Remember that cortisol we talked about earlier? High levels of cortisol are known to break down muscle tissue. So the stress of loneliness is physically dissolving your muscle mass, while the lack of activity is preventing you from building it back up. This is how we lose our balance and our independence. It starts with staying home more often, and it ends with a fear of falling. But here is the beautiful thing. Growing older doesn't mean giving up. it means using smarter strategies. When you join a walking group or even just commit to a weekly grocery trip with a neighbor, you are doing more than just walking. You are resetting your hormones, lowering your stress, and giving your muscles the biological green light to stay strong. I know all of this might feel a bit unsettling to hear. It is a lot to take in, and it can be scary to realize that something as intangible as loneliness can have such a concrete effect on your heart, your brain, and your legs. But I want you to take a deep breath and remember what I said at the beginning. Knowledge is power. You are not a victim of your age. You are the captain of your health. Now that you know these 5 dangers, you can stop blaming yourself for feeling tired or stiff and start addressing the root cause. It is not too late to make a change. You don't need to go out and join 10 different clubs tomorrow. Even the smallest step counts. So, let's recap what we have learned today. First, we need to address inflammation by recognizing that social connection is a physical need, not a luxury. Second, we protect our brains by giving them the workout of conversation. Third, we save our hearts by letting oxytocin relax our blood vessels through meaningful relationships. Fourth, we boost our immune systems by signaling to our bodies that we are safe and supported. And fifth, we maintain our mobility by finding social reasons to keep moving every single day. It is all about giving your body what it needs and avoiding the sneaky, silent things that cause harm. I want to speak directly to your heart for a moment. I know getting older can be hard. The world changes, friends move away, and sometimes the silence in the house feels like it's screaming. The aches in your joints and the fear of losing your mobility can be incredibly discouraging. But you are not alone in this. There are millions of us navigating these same waters, and it is never, ever too late to turn things around. Every small step you take, every person you say hello to, and every time you choose to engage instead of retreat, you are strengthening your future freedom. One conversation, one walk, one phone call at a time, you are taking charge. Your independence is a treasure, and it is carried by your legs and fueled by your heart. You have so much life left to live and so much wisdom left to share. Don't let the silence tell you otherwise. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these 5 dangers surprised you the most? Have you noticed that you feel physically better on the days you are more social? Or have you struggled with that heavy feeling I mentioned? Please share your story or any questions in the comments below. I make it a point to read through the comments because we all learn so much from each other's experiences. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today to feel less alone. If this video helped you or opened your eyes to why you have been feeling the way you have, please hit that like button. It means the world to us and helps us keep creating this content. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and turn on those notifications. Your health and your independence are worth fighting for, and we are going to be right here with you every step of the way with more science-backed tips for thriving in your golden years. If you are still with me and you are determined to stay strong and reclaim your social vitality, type a 1 in the comments to affirm it. If you are feeling skeptical or have doubts, you can type a 0. I appreciate all your feedback because your voice truly matters in this community. Keep taking those small steps for your health. They add up to giant strides in your freedom. Stay strong, stay healthy, and remember, you are part of something bigger than yourself. I will see you in the next video.